Welcome back to Radio Nation. I'm joined with Aria Tesolin. So, welcome Aria, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to get right into this interview here. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a classically trained singer. I'm still being classically trained now. And I sing a bunch of different types of music. I sing a bit of jazz, classical, opera, and my own original compositions.
What got you started into singing?
Well, I started singing when I was 3 years old to Disney movies and stuff like that. And I got so much more into them than any other kids did. I always, practiced them. Like, there would be one particular song that I just sing over and over all day long. And I remember even when I was really little, we had this hammock in my backyard, and I'd just be out there on the hammock singing all the time. As long as I was outside, I was singing.
And who are some of your biggest influences in your life, in musically or just in general?
Well, when I was younger, one of my biggest influences was Andrea Bocelli. He really paved the way for a lot of my singing interests and stuff like that. But later in life, it's evolved. Maria Callas in opera, she has a fantastic voice. Cecilia Bartoli is a mezzo, and I'm also a mezzo at the moment. So I just find that I can relate to her. And in terms of musical influences right now, some of the more popular bands I listen to kind of influence my songwriting. So bands like Mother, Amy Lee from Evanescence are kind of influencing my songwriting right now.
And I was reading on your website that you're the youngest, or you were the youngest opera singer in the world at the age of 12. How did you get into opera?
I think I got into opera because of Andrea Bocelli. My mom started playing one of his CDs, and when I was about 6 or 7, and I just started, dancing around, and I loved the music, so I started kind of learning that music, and it just evolved from there. I saw my first opera when I was 8, and it was Carmen, and as soon as I left the opera, I decided that I was going to learn one of the songs from this opera, and that would be the first song I ever learned in opera.
And what song was that?
It's called Habanera from Carmen. It's a really popular tune. You'd recognize it if you actually heard it.
Perfect. So in 2006, you released your first CD, Baby Soprano. Tell me a little bit about the CD.
Okay. Well, I was 12 when I recorded it, and it's a 14-track album of almost completely opera and a few canzoni napoletana, which are like Italian folk songs, and I think one Ave Maria. So they're all very, very operatic songs, and it actually sparked a lot of controversy, sort of, because most people believe that someone shouldn't be singing these songs at such a young at such a young age, and it would totally ruin my voice. But well, it hasn't. I'm still singing now. So,
why do you think they said that beyond the fact that, like, because of your voice? Did they just say that because it was like stubbornness, that no one else had really done that, or why do you think?
I think it was partially the fact that nobody else had really done that before, and partially just because when you're singing opera, you're supposed to have like your voice isn't completely developed until you're in about your mid-20s. So technically, I wouldn't have been singing with the full capacity that I will when I'm 25, but at the same time, I should still be allowed to sing the songs. It doesn't mean that I'm going to sing them to my 100%, but they were against singing the songs entirely, so I don't completely understand that, but I kind of understand where they were coming from.
Great. So you performed your first concert at the age of 8 years old, and since then you've performed with the Canada 3 tenors and the Canadian tenors. What is it like performing with bands like this?
It's pretty fantastic. I mean, I remember when I was performing with the Canadian tenors, and it was a really last-minute thing, and I just had like a few days to learn my song, and I wasn't as proficient in like learning music as I am right now, because it was a few years ago, but it was just so fantastic to be on the stage in front of like a great audience with amazing singers, 4 amazing singers. And when I was younger, when I was, I think, 9, I had my first concert with the 3 Canadian tenors, and they were so professional and fantastic, and inviting that I felt great to be a part of that, to be with them.
Did you take anything away from that experience in terms of, like, did you learn something?
Oh, yeah. It was my first performance. Like, it basically paved the way for all the other performances that I've had, and, you know, learning how to interact with an audience, and, like, I never really had stage fright, so that was never a problem for me, but just being able to see an audience, see what their reactions are, and learning from that has increased my performance ability, and it basically started this whole thing.
You're obviously an extremely talented young woman. You can
you.
sing in 5 different languages. I want to know what the 5 languages you can sing in.
Oh, okay. So I sing in Italian, English, French, German, and Spanish. Actually, I also sing in Latin sometimes, so I guess that's 6 languages.
So how did you learn those languages?
Well, I don't speak all those languages. I speak English, and I'm pretty good with French as well. But I guess I was just born with a knack for the pronunciation. Like, all the languages are pronounced a little bit differently, but I have a bit of Italian background, so the Italian wasn't too difficult for me, and it's very similar to a lot of the other languages like Latin and Spanish. German is the only one that, you know, really takes a lot of intense learning because it's so different from any other language. So that one, it's just a whole lot of practice.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine that. What has been the biggest challenge in your career so far?
I think the biggest challenge was probably overcoming a lot of the criticism that I received, especially when I was younger, and when it's harder to take criticism, because when you're young, you know, you hear criticism, it kind of sets you back a lot more than it does now. I mean, you can never ignore it when you're young. I remember when I was about, I think I was 10 or 11 or something, I went to sing for some people, and they basically said that, you know, I shouldn't really sing anymore, or that I should only be singing certain types of music, none of which I was singing. Basically, the songs were way beyond me, and I shouldn't be doing that. So that made me really scared to sing for a really long time. So overcoming that and realizing that I could do that, and that I could do what I want as long as I did it properly, that was something that was my biggest difficulty in overcoming. And
when did you realize, or when did you start to sort of know, I've overcome this sort of criticism and this sort of the challenge that you faced?
Well, you never overcome it 100% really, but slowly through the past couple of years, I've just realized that not everybody is right. Not everybody can be right about what you're doing. I mean, it's my craft, it's my artistic creativity that's coming out, and no one can really say what's right or wrong. As long as I'm doing something to my voice that is safe, as long as I'm not hurting myself, then no one really has the right to say that I should stop.
And where do you see your career headed in the future?
Well, in the near future, I'm hoping to put out an album within the next year. This one will be more of my original compositions, so I hope you'll be hearing a lot more of that in the future. And just in general, I can't see myself as being a huge artist like, say, Justin Bieber, but I really want to gain a more international audience, and just have my music spread. And the genre that I'm in is usually reserved for older adults, and I wanted to kind of extend that because I'm a younger person, and I kind of wanted to extend this genre to younger people and see if they can appreciate it as well.
And your plans for post-secondary education after you're done high school, where do you want to go?
I actually don't want to go to university for vocal, because I just find that, you know, if you want to go into university for singing, you can either go into jazz, or you can go into Broadway or musicals, or you can go into classical, and I don't want to dive into any of those genres 100%. I kind of like a mix of a lot of things, so I don't think university is the best place for my voice. I actually want to go to university for political science, which is another thing that I'm really, really interested in. And I want to go to U of T. That's the ideal place that I want to go and continue with singing as well.
So switching gears a little bit here, you're involved with Free the Children in that organization.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. I just got involved in Free the Children a few years ago, and I just love the organization because it helps children that are like me in the same way. You know, they're the same kind of people. They're children and they're youth like me. They've just been born in a totally different situation than I have. I was born in a first world country. I'm privileged. I have things that they don't, you know, and like it would be great if I could help someone who is like me, who wishes they could take a music class or, you know, have food or shelter, and I can help them, and they're just like me. They're just living in another country, in another situation. And Free the Children is just a fantastic organization, and Craig Kielberger started it when he was 12, and it's just been growing ever since then, and it kind of shows that youth can really change the world in what he did.
Just how do you support, what exactly do you do with Free the Children? Do you support it through donation, or do you...
Well, less through donation, more through promotion and awareness. Actually, one of the first songs that I wrote was kind of dedicated to Free the Children, and it was kind of about the children that they help. And I do it with more promotion and awareness so that other people will be able to donate. And I just kind of show them where it's at and supporting the organization in general.
And you perform live on Friday at the Central here in Toronto.
Yep.
Can you give us an idea of what the show might be like?
Okay, so this show is a little different from anything that I've done before. It's going to feature a lot of more jazzier tunes and some tunes of my original composition. So this is stuff that I've never performed before, and even some that it hasn't even been recorded. And a few smaller artists, like rock ballads and folk ballads, and it'll just be an interesting mix of these things. So.
And if anybody out there is interested in getting tickets, how would they go about doing so?
Well, you can get the tickets on my website, which is www.ariatesolin.com. There will also be a few tickets available at the door if you come early. So as long as you get there, then the tickets should be available.
And the show starts at 7 o'clock?
Yep. Show starts at 7, should end around 9, probably a little earlier, but I'd say be there a little bit early so you can get good seats.
So is there anything else you'd like to add to our interview?
No, but thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
So we're going to play the song Dolce, and then we'll play the song Now That I Know, the two songs that you've done. So we'll play them. So we'll play the first one we'll play is Dolce, and it's a great song, and this is the first one I listened to when I was going through the thing on Reverb Nation, and probably my favorite song that I've listened to of the ones that you have on the site. So we're going to play Dolce, and here it is.
So this is how it appears. You must have known it was true. You look so wonderful wearing that smile. I could be there smiling with you. I love to look in your eyes. Seems like you stare at my soul. Can you imagine just looking through each other like nothing could make us more whole? Has anyone told you, you white out the sun? You weren't playing, but you've already won. I love you when today is over. All I want to do is love you trust me, just take me to keep. Has anyone told you I'm losing my mind? I cannot help it, it's how my love's defined. Hey, I love you, and today is over. All I want to do is love you, there's no reason we should be alone. I've never felt so strong in your arms where I belong. I've loved you all along. There's no reason we should be alone. I've never felt so strong in your arms where I belong. I've loved you all
All right, welcome back. So that was Dolce, and that's a great, great piece. So the next place we're going to play is Now That I Know. So here it is, Now That I Know.
When the shadows never come at night, stars will greet me with their twinkling light. That's when I know I'm in love. Clouds part so the sun can light the way, and to meet me every break of day. That's when I know I'm in love. It's when rain turns to snow, and the weather is cold and blue, but still spring is all I know, 'cause all I know is you. When my feet are floating off the ground, and when music is the only sound, I know I've fallen in love. It's when rain turns to snow, and the weather is cold and blue, but still spring is all I know, 'cause all I know is you. Your voice and your love are all I need. They are constant as the air I breathe. Now that I know I'm in
All right, so that was Now That I Know. And Aria, you want to add a little something else to our little interview here, so feel free.
Sure. Actually, Now That I Know, the song you just heard was an original composition by myself, and the one before that, Dolce, I actually wrote the lyrics to that. It was a Canadian-Italian collaboration because the melody was, and the song itself was actually written in Italy, and then they sent it over here. I wrote the lyrics and recorded it, so it's a real collaboration of the countries, so that's pretty interesting. And I just wanted to add about Free the Children that I have a donation page attached to my Facebook. So if you go on my Facebook fan page, then you can find a way to donate to Free the Children.
And did you want to talk about your upcoming show? Like, I understand you have some band members. Did you want to talk a little bit about that, too?
Oh, yeah, the upcoming show I have, it'll just be me and my band members, and they're just fantastic musicians. One of them is Max Sennett, who has, he's played with Alex Cuba, who is a Juno Award winning musician, and they're all just very accomplished musicians, and I'd really suggest you come out to see the show because it's going to be a really interesting thing. Probably not like anything you've seen before because it's a combination of, you know, great musicians and a bunch of different genres and interesting things. So
perfect. We'll definitely have to check it out then. Thank you very much for coming on to the show tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I know it was kind of short notice, but thank you very much for coming in.
Not a problem.